Hey Poopy is looking for you and your poo.
Do you have a question, story, comment, or fart noise you want to share?
You can email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com.
Or call us at the new Hey Poopy hotline, 203-998-5579.
Can't wait to hear from you.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
And now, the Hey Poopy Podcast with Dave and Ellen.
Oh my God, it's been a long time. But we are back. We are back. That's all that
This is
really
the Hey
matters.
Poopy Podcast with
Dave.
and Ellen, and this is episode number 92. Our favorite number, the 2.
Yes, 9-2.
Yes.
And we've taken the whole month of September off, so this is our first interview in a long time.
It
So
is.
it might be a little rusty.
Yes.
So we'll see how things go.
But knowing me, I also might have an epic check-in.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I have 30 days of shitting to talk about.
You've been taking notes. I've been taking like lots of notes, copious notes.
Copious notes.
Copious
Nice.
amounts. Ooh.
And
It's a good thing.
we have a very special guest, PUA, who contacted us because she's a whale poop expert, which
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
didn't even know
amazing.
there was such a thing.
It's kind of incredible.
Well, yeah, the world of whales is pretty wild, and nothing's more wild than whale poop. So, I mean, you're talking about copious amounts of poop stories to talk about. I guess it's good we're going to talk about whale poop because, I mean, we're talking some of the largest poops.
Oh, I can't even
planet.
imagine. Imagine the size of a Volkswagen bus.
Ooh. Imagine a fart bubble so big you could fit a horse in it.
PUA, before we go into all this whale shit, though, I really want to know, how have you been pooping recently?
Not so great. I'm going to just toss that out there. Well, I decided to get extremely drunk the other night and eat copious amounts of cheese,
Oh,
which, without the lactate pills, my mind forgot that was necessary. So it's been rough.
oof.
Pepto-Bismol has been my friend,
Oof.
and trying to drink the kombucha and get everything kind of restarted again.
Oh man, cheese. It's the great blocker.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. It's really
So on the
Yeah.
Bristol stool, were you a higher number? Were you more liquidy?
I was more liquidy, yes. I was probably the liquidiest we could get there. It was not great.
Wow.
It's coming down, though.
Okay,
I think
you're
I had
getting-
a solid 5 today, and it's
Oh.
tending to
Oh, that's good.
more solid, so it's getting better.
So you're riding the ship, as they say.
Woo.
You were loose in the caboose with a bunch of 7s, but now you're making
Yeah.
it more
You're
solid.
back in the salad territory.
Oh, yes. And
that's
thank
good.
goodness I've been on land for all of this. Trying to do that on a boat,
Oh no.
the bathroom's the worst place to be on a boat.
Oh.
I will
Oh my
say that.
It's
God.
horrendous. It's horrendous.
Oof, yes. Everything moves. Everything
Yeah.
smells funny. Oh, yeah, no.
Oh God, no. Well, because I know Alan's gonna have an epic check-in, so I'll just preempt that with my story real quick. Nothing too out of the ordinary this month. I mean, we haven't talked about it in a long time, but I will say, right before this, maybe like an hour or two ago, I went to go to the bathroom. Huge dump, and like a 4.5-ish. And then as I'm like getting ready to use my Snap-on bidet, I realized that the water in our building has been turned off. Like I just right at that moment, I'm like, what's going on here? And like I go to like turn on the sink, there's like no water. So it was like a disaster. So I was running around like and we had to wait for like another like half hour till the water came back on.
Oh
So
my God.
I had to run
So you had
out.
to dry wipe
Yeah,
it?
it sucked. It was just like really just so depressing.
Oh, that's awful.
And then I remember like at one point I was like, what am I doing with my hands? So I had to go and like just slather myself with Purell because it's the only thing we had. Like, and it just drives me crazy that the building doesn't just tell us they're going to shut the water off so we can, prepare. And we were eating lunch. It was like a whole thing. But I did break off a nice number 4 and then had to sort of let it sit, which was so gross. I had to tell my wife, I'm like, do not go in the bathroom, just so you know. I mean, she knew the water was up, but I'm like, don't look in the toilet until, so yeah. So that was
How long was it off for?
Like a half hour, 45 minutes. But it's like when it turns off, you have no idea when it's coming back on because no one's told you, giving you any information. So I'm just like, all right, well, we'll see what happens. But when as soon as I heard the water pressure, I was like, yes. I ran back in there. I'm like, let's do this. So yeah,
You're just like, please let it go down.
Oh yeah, I just
let
don't.
it go down.
Yeah, no one wants to see that. And it's like we're having guests or anything, but I was like, what the fuck? So.
Oh man.
Mine was pretty mellow compared to what I'm sure you're about to hear from my co-host.
Well, buckle up, motherfuckers, because I got the check-in. I have 30 whole days to talk about. I'm not going to talk about each 30 day. It wasn't like totally leaving like poo log of like every last detail. But do it.
I don't think
Drum
it has the
roll,
splash at the end,
please.
but we did have a drum roll for that. So that's. I thought I had.
So let me start with, I don't even know if we talked about this on the last episodes, but I got bit by a feral cat and I was advised by somebody to do a rabies shot. So I did. It's a series of 4 shots. The shots do not hurt. Like everybody says, it's in your arms now. It's not your stomach. It's not as dramatic as it makes it sound. The actual shot does not hurt. I, though, got insanely sick from it. Like, so sick where I thought I was dying for about 5 days. It was like one solid day of real death and then like 4 days after that coming out of it. What this has to do with poop is during the 2 weeks I had the 4 shots, I was shitting a minimum of 5 times a day.
Oh no.
That was a lot.
Yeah. So my body was literally like detoxing out all the evil.
Woo.
During that period of time, I know I've talked about this on so many episodes. I live in a small New York City apartment with 1 bathroom, and my boyfriend was in the bathroom doing his 15-minute long shit, and I was on a business phone call in the kitchen, and I had to poop. So I couldn't just knock on the door and tell him, you need to get the fuck out of there. I'm going to shit myself. But because I was on a business call that I couldn't even get off of, like I was still talking about stuff, had to go so badly that I made the conscious decision to open up the kitchen trash can and take a shit in it other than shitting in my pants.
Wait, were you still on the phone when this was going on?
Were you?
Oh, I would have been like, I gotta go. I'm gonna call you right back.
Nope. I was on the phone.
You're losing me.
Oh my God.
Hanging up.
I was on the phone, squatting over the kitchen the kitchen garbage can. And as soon as I did it, I took a paper towel, wiped, tied up the bag, and while I was still on the phone, went outside and threw it out.
Oh my God. I didn't know you were on the phone. I had heard, full disclosure, I had heard this story prior to the show, but I didn't realize
right away.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were on the fucking phone.
This is bringing back some traumatic flashbacks for me. My father did almost this exact same scenario when I was living on a sailboat with him in Texas.
Oh my God.
If anybody's heard the Boo Bess episode, she did something very similar, but on a plastic bag on her kitchen floor. So I literally text Dave and I was like, so I Boo Bessed it. So we're officially calling if you shit in the kitchen and there's no toilet in the kitchen. Sorry, Boo Bess, but we're coining it the Boo Bess.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll love that.
And then 2 funny things happened to me yesterday. Yes, I pooped today. I was actually at the doctor's office today, and I was there for almost 3 hours, and I had to poop there. I had to get up so early I couldn't even poop before I left the house. So that was an easy check-in. I pooped at the doctor's office. But yesterday, I had 2 hilarious things happen to me. One, I was shooting this model, and I actually was, I know this sounds very strange, but consensually I hog-tied her when she was butt naked. And while I was hog-tying her, I thought she farted in my face because I heard a noise. And I go, oh, I think you just farted. She goes, no, I queefed. So she queefed in my face. I was laughing hysterically at it, but yes, that was funny. Then we went down to, I had my car parked in a garage in Manhattan, and I went to get it out, and I didn't even realize that I had to fart. And I'm standing like half in the door trying to pay the guy, and literally the loudest fart fell out of my butt. It was like, brrrr. And as I was paying him, he goes, thank you. And I was like, is he thanking me for the massive fart I just did? Or is he thanking me for the payment?
He's like, I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. He's like,
yeah. And I had one of my masks on. So I started laughing hysterically, but he couldn't see because I had a mask on. I was like, I wonder if anybody heard that massive fart that just fell out of me. So yeah. I have another thing to check in with, but I think I'm going to wait for a future episode to talk about it. But that's my massive epic check-in.
Wow. We could have kept that could have been the whole episode.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked that you were on the phone. Like when you're I would have been like, I'll have to call you right back. There's an emergency.
I couldn't. I literally couldn't. It was a business call that I could not get off of.
Oh my God.
I mean, can you imagine? I'm literally hovering over my kitchen's garbage can. Sure. Yes, that sounds great. Literally is falling out of me while I was on the phone.
I would have been like, oh my God, something. I would have made up something to get off that phone for that 5. There's just no way. It would have been great. It would have been great if this must have been one epic business call because
I think that's an epic power move right there. I applaud that. Yes.
Thank God it wasn't a Zoom business call.
That's it. Yeah.
That's when you just walk off the screen and you're just like, oh, I have to go. There's something going on. Let me call you right back. They would have understood. Or you could have been like, I'm taking a shit right now. Like, oh, call us back, please. Oh my God. Well, that was pretty epic. Whew. I wish I had some kind of bell for that. Look at that. Or I don't know. But anyway. Moving on.
So, PUA, tell us all about yourself and how you got into whale poop.
Well, it's a little bit of a trip. The whale poop thing just kind of happened. But originally from Hawaii, where I got my name. So PUA means flower in Hawaiian.
Aww,
tack on an extra A to that, it means pig. Middle schoolers found that real fast. But yeah, but I ended up moving onto a sailboat with my father and my brother when I was 16. We bought the boat in Texas, and I ended up sailing from Texas to Fiji.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
On that boat, yeah.
Oh my God. Epic
it was
adventure.
Quite a trip. Lots of things happened. A lot of stuff happened. After I hopped off the sailboat, I didn't have a driver's license, bank account, nothing. And I got out of Fiji, flew back home, decided to work at Target for a year. That was a trip. Lasted 1 year on land. And then I found a job working up in Southeast Alaska for a company called and then I also worked for Lindblad National Geographic.
Oh, wow.
Different roles. I was a steward. I worked in the galley. I'm now a deckhand. And then, a year and 8 months ago, I was finishing up a contract down in Baja, Mexico. Saw a job offer for Monterey. Land living. Let's do this. And just moved to Monterey, and now I get to live in an apartment. I adopted this cat. And I still get to go out on the bay 5 days a week, Downside to this particular job, though, is I'm running short tours. So 4-hour trips in the morning to go whale watching, 3 hours in the afternoon. So you get a lot of people that have no idea what being on a boat means or entails. Oh. And it is extremely rough out here for the majority of the year.
Wow.
I'm talking some good swells. I work on a catamaran, so you got twice the movement. We call it the vomit.
Oh, you're in a catamaran? Oh, my God.
So I deal with a lot of seasick people, and
Oh.
guess what? Getting diarrhea is also a symptom of seasickness. So I get to deal with a lot of stuff,
Oh my God.
a lot of bodily fluids all week long. I'm never gonna show this podcast to my employers, though. I don't wanna make But if anyone ever goes whale watching in Monterey, for the love of God, take your medication. Please take your seasickness meds. You will appreciate
it helps. I get seasick so quickly that like I need to have Dramamine or something because if not,
dude.
it's a
I did the
fest.
same thing. When I first started sailing open ocean crossings, it was my birthday. It was Thanksgiving, and we were sailing out of Texas to go to Mexico. And I didn't take any medication because I was like, I got this. I'm from Hawaii. I got the ocean in my blood. It'll be fine. No, I got seasick within 5 minutes, and I was down for 9 straight days. That whole crossing
Oh my
was
God.
just
Yeah.
seasickness.
Brutal.
And I couldn't even go
Awful.
downstairs to use the bathroom. I found a bucket. I was like, this is my bucket. I have to be outside. My family was just like, this is the worst. You are just awful at this. I was like,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
God.
ooh.
It's like it's going below deck too when you're seasick is the worst thing ever. I mean,
Yeah,
I did that
no,
once and I'm like, no.
it's the worst. And especially when you do whale watches and you got people getting seasick and they're like, listen, you don't understand. I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, you go in there, it's all over. And they're like, there is no other option. I once had somebody get so sick, they walked into the bathroom. I got them in there. They just pulled their pants down right in front of me and just sat there with the door open. And it was just aggressive eye contact between both of us. For like 5 seconds, I was like, you're doing this, huh? He's, don't shut the door.
Why did they
guard
want the
this
door
dude.
shut?
Because he was like, if you close me in there in a closed space, I'm just going to lose it.
Yeah.
I have to see the horizon. Like, I have to. So I just kind of had to
God.
stand outside the door.
Oh,
Well, this guy in his late 40s is just pooping just right behind me. And I was
Oh my God.
oh. That is.
And, you know, it's people at, like, their most helpless, too. So you really got to
yeah.
have that good custom. I will say wearing the mask so they can't see most of my face and sunglasses really helps a lot
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
in these times.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Wait,
Even
so is the whale watching really that great that they're willing to put up with the rough seas? Like,
Yeah, we have some of the most fantastic whale watching on the California coast. So there's this feature here in Monterey called the Submarine Canyon. So if you guys have ever been to the Grand Canyon in Arizona, it's a mile deep from the rim to the river. We have that in the center of Monterey Bay.
Oh, wow.
wow.
And then further offshore, it gets to over 2 miles deep. It's over 12,000 feet of water.
Wow.
So we have so many different whales that come in here. Humpbacks from Mexico and Costa Rica, blue whales, fin whales, even beaked whales, which are some of the more rare ones that we can find, and also the deepest diving whales. So,
wow.
yeah.
Cool.
That's incredible.
But the fun thing about whale poop, they all come up to the surface to poop. So we get to see that.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Does that like get a big laugh every time on the boats on
Yes.
the tours?
Oh,
It
yes.
must.
Mostly because the crew is just losing it. I've just been in the ground, just pounding the deck, laughing at a humpback whale baby that's next to the boat that's just leaving this huge brown streak just right next to us, little fart bubbles coming out. And the kids are just like, what is that? I'm like, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. We all poop, and whales love to poop.
Wow. So like after doing all these tours and everything, how did you find this love, I guess, of whale poop? Like what did you
just from being out there. And also, so I work with a lot of marine biologists out there. And one of my favorites, his name is Greg. He tells the story of the time he found orca whale poop out when he was out on a boat. And orcas, the ones that he was looking at, these are transients. These are marine mammal eaters. So this poop was a solid red block of stuff. And he came up and he was like, this is awesome. And he got a fishing net out and he went to pick it up. And it was lighter than he expected. And he heaved with all of his strength because he thought it would be solid and heavy. And it just splattered him, covered in orca poop.
Okay,
Oh my
why
God.
was it red? And like, how do you know the difference between the different whale poops?
That's a great question. So it all depends on their diet and what they're eating. So for humpback whales, when they're up here, they're eating mostly fish, so anchovies and sardines. So their poop tends to be really brown in color. So it's a huge brown fecal plume, or what we call a punami. Yes, punami, that's the thing.
Punami's good.
Yes, but if the whale is eating a lot of krill, that poop tends to be more red in color. And if they are eating other marine mammals, it can be pinkish brown too.
Oh, wow.
So it just depends on their diet.
And by marine mammals, are you talking like seals? Like, oh.
Yep. So we have transient orcas. There's several different kinds of orcas, but transient orcas eat marine mammals like gray whale calves, seals, elephant seals, all sorts of stuff. So the other week we had them pop up in the bay, and they went to town killing sea lions.
Wow.
So you just had sea lion intestines just floating in the water
everywhere.
everywhere.
God.
And you guys know intestines are pretty epic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh my God.
So does that attract other things like sharks and stuff? If there's that, I mean, it must be like so wild with massive amount of life and death.
Imagine a lot of activity.
Yeah.
A lot of activity.
Well, orcas tend to scare off most other animals, so even sharks will keep their distance, because you do have orca species that do go after sharks as well.
Wow.
And when they go, so orcas are the top predators out here. So you got an orca that's going after a great white shark. The first thing that orca is going to be eating is its liver. That's what they go for first.
Wow.
And orcas' mouths are a little bit different from other predators. So the easiest way for them to get in their food is going through a pre-existing hole. So just to be blunt, it's either the mouth or the anus that
they're ass
gonna
eaters.
start going for, yeah.
Orca
So
the
when they're
ass
eating
eater.
gray whale calves, they're going for their mouth and they're eating their tongue first. But yeah, sharks, it's the liver.
Wow.
You guys need to come down to Monterey. I'll take you guys out on a
Yeah,
boat
that'd be amazing.
With
We'll go
lots of
find 'em.
Dramamine.
with so much meclizine.
Yeah.
So much.
So what's like the biggest, physically large poop you've seen from a whale?
I have seen a blue whale poop. Yes. Ooh, and blue whales are absolutely wild. So blue whales can poop 200 liters at one time. That's 52 gallons of poop that comes out of them.
My
Damn.
God.
That's
And
pretty
they
big.
poop at least, honestly, we don't know that much about blue whales, but I would say probably at least one bowel movement a day
Wow.
for these guys moving this
So they're pretty
out
regular.
of their system. 52 gallons of poop.
Oh,
And you can look it up. There is drone footage off Australia where they caught a blue whale leaving this massive streak of poop as it's
Oh my
swimming at the
God.
surface.
Wow.
that is
Yes.
Woo.
So I got to see that.
Oh yeah, I
It
see
was
it right here.
amazing.
Oh my God, it's disgusting.
So what happens? What happens with all this whale poop? Like, does it just disintegrate in the water, or does other animals attracted to eating it? Like,
Woo. So what if I was to tell you that whale poop is the foundation for a healthy ocean? Like everything relies on whale poop. This is one of the biggest kept secrets about whales that we're really starting to dive into.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us more.
This is a trip. So blue whales eat a lot of really iron-rich things. So krill, fish, sardines, anchovies. And when they poop, their poop is super high in phosphorus. And when they release that into the water, they're doing it up at the top levels of the water. So each different whale can dive a different depth. So say a Cuvier's beaked whale, that is the deepest diving whale that we know. They can dive 10,000 feet.
Wow.
Wow.
And they can hold their breath for 138 minutes. Yes. But when you're diving that deep, so other whales, humpbacks go down to 800 feet. Blue whales can dive closer to 1,000 or so. But that puts a lot of pressure on your body. So for beaked whales, they can actually collapse their ribs, and they also shut down certain body functions when they're diving that deep. So that shuts down your kidney functions, your digestion, bowel movements. It's really hard to poop under pressure. I'm sure we've all
that's
been
incredible.
there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Under pressure ain't good.
I have been there. I was there
Yeah.
today, leaving for the doctor's office. I felt like I had to poop, and it wouldn't come out, and I was under pressure to leave for the doctor's office.
That's it. So they come up to where the pressure is lighter, up to the top. So for humpback whales, oftentimes when they're lifting their tail up, we'll just see this massive brown cloud just spread out. Blue whales will come up to the surface. And what they're doing is they're taking nutrients from the deep and releasing it into the topsoil, the top layer of the ocean, and spreading that out with their tails. They're flipping their tails as they're doing this. So it's dispersing this. So all of the little creatures that they love to feed on are feeding on their poop. So this is the plankton, the krill, everything is feeding on that nutrient-rich fertilizer that they're putting back in the ocean.
Cool.
I'm on Google right now looking at this diagram that explains exactly what you just said. There's like whale poop, and there's the little like life forms that eat that, and then the things that the whale eats. So it's like this giant cyclical thing. Pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
a trip, you know. And a lot of people are like, you know, yeah, what's good for it? So back in the 1970s, we were just starting to do the moratorium on whaling, and there were some researchers that came out and they're like, hey, so krill stocks and fish stocks, everything should be going up right now because we've killed off so many whales. For different populations, we've killed off anywhere from 65% to 90% of the whales were killed off. Yes, we drove most of them endangered almost to the point of extinction. We killed 99% of blue whales.
Oh my
we only
God.
have 1% left in the world.
That's crazy.
10,000 blue whales left. So anyway, these guys were like, oh yeah, so we killed all the whales. The whales were eating all the fish. So we're going to have more fish now because, you know, we got rid of the predators. Yay. Good for us. That didn't happen. Everything started going down, especially for krill. Now, we don't eat krill, but we do use it for fish food and for fertilizer and stuff too. So we do harvest krill as well. So everything started going down, and then they started looking into it, and they realized that we were getting rid of the giant punamis that these guys feed on.
Yeah.
So we were just throwing everything out of whack.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's still, you know, it's getting better, but I mean, these whales are really slow reproducers. So, I mean, like, we've still got a long way to go.
Oof.
So every time a whale poops, you have to cheer.
Thank a whale. Thank your whales for pooping.
That's
and
incredible.
if you're breathing air, you should be thanking your whales too, because they actually help contribute to controlling climate change and CO2 in the atmosphere. Yes.
That makes total sense.
And that's from the whale poop, or that just okay.
That's from whales feeding, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When they feed, they control the CEO.
Well, so when whales are feeding on a bunch of little creatures like the krill, anchovies, sardines, everything like that, and they're pooping and releasing it back into the water, they are putting carbon back into the water where other things are eating them. And so, and when they die, they're actually taking all that carbon down to the bottom of the ocean as well. So it actually is helping climate change and the CO2 in the atmosphere because they're taking some of it out of it and putting it back into the water.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of a little trippy when it comes to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
And we're still looking into it and being like, how does this really work? But yeah, geoengineering for climate change is also something whales do.
Yeah, I mean, before us humans discovered fossil fuels and screwed everything up, like the Earth was doing pretty damn good taking care of itself. Like, the ecosystem was working pretty well. So it's us humans that are like the parasite here.
Oh yeah. And can you imagine a world that has 96% more birds, whales, everything? I mean, we've really taken everything out.
Oh, completely.
Completely.
If you look at those charts, you see like just over the amount of years, like how many species have just been like either completely obliterated or almost brought to near extinction levels. And the thing is, like, you get rid of one species, you have no idea how that's going to affect us in the long run.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like Yellowstone Park when they realized that when they brought the wolves back, that how it just brought all life trickled down because the wolves killed the deer, so the foliage could grow more, and then birds and everything else came back. Like it needs the ecosystem is there for a reason.
It is, yeah. And so for us to assume that we're, taking out whales so we can have more fish was just really short-sighted. But, they also just really didn't understand anything about how this all works. And we still don't know. But yeah, whales enable ocean plants to draw down CO2 and also help to store carbon in the ocean. So
That's
this
amazing.
is like they're providing essential nutrients that enable ocean plants to grow and fertilizer, and they're doing their part.
And also, no, I'm brain farting. Edit this out. No,
It's
this
all
is my
good.
question. If us humans are the parasites, though, when we poop in the ocean, what happens?
Fish love to eat our poop. It's okay.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, so you can't dump raw sewage in the ocean.
Yes, that's gross.
Close into shore. Once you get 3 miles out, you can dump raw, untreated sewage into the water. That's the thing. However, most big cruise ships and everything, they treat their waste before putting it overboard. But smaller sailboats and stuff where we put biodegradable stuff in our holding tanks to break down everything. But once you're out and you're sailing in the middle of the ocean, those toilets can be pumped straight overboard.
Wow.
And
the fish come along and
just eat it up.
you see the fish eating the poo?
Uh-huh.
It's like
actually,
food bell.
I did.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh yeah. So my longest open ocean crossing was 35 days from Panama to French Polynesia.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a solid month on the ocean, and we ended up in the doldrums for a little bit. And
What's
so
the doldrums?
So the doldrums are where two different winds, they're swirling. You have the north winds and then the south winds, and in the center there's no winds. And we took the southern route. We ended up in an area where there's no winds, and we're just kind of motoring across, putt-putting our way across there. We actually had to take two 55-gallon barrels of diesel and strap them in the back of the boat so we could have enough fuel to get through the doldrums.
Wow.
Yeah. But one day we were just cruising along, and we decided to shut the engines off, go for a swim, chill out for a little bit. So we all jumped overboard, and we're in a couple thousand feet of water, 1,000 miles away from any other land shore. And I had to poop. So I told my brother, and he was also sailing with us. His name was Thor. Yeah. We did have Thor on board. I was like, I have to poop. So they got out of the water, and I pooped, and it went straight over, and it's little brown chunks everywhere. And these little fish that were hanging out under the boat just came out and started nibbling. And I'm like, fascinating. I wonder how you like that.
They're like delicious.
I've also been swimming at the beach when I was down in Panama, and somebody decided to take a poop right off the beach into the water, which is just a huge no-no. But I'm swimming along, and all of a sudden Thor goes, "Watch out for the brown trout!" And I look, and there's just a turd in the water, and I'm just like, "Swim away!" Ah! Yes, watch out for the brown trout. If anyone ever yells "brown trout" at you and you're in the water, you get out of there.
You swim fast. Wow.
So fast. Kick that away.
I have admitted on this podcast that I pooped in the ocean once when I was at the beach because it was going to be in my swimsuit. There was no other option. The public toilet was just way too far away that if I tried to get to there, I would have shit in my swimsuit. So I swam out, but it was not 3 miles. I did not swim out 3 miles. But I swam out just far enough where I was away from people, and it was coming out of me, and I was like, "Is it going to float or is it going to sink?" That's the biggest question. And God bless it sank. But yeah,
that's good.
I've always been like, "Am I a terrible person because I shit in the ocean?" But all these other fish and animals shit in the ocean. It can't be that bad.
It's not that bad. It is not. The problem comes when you have a lot of people pooping in the oceans and they're all really close to shore. And sewage is, especially on the intercoastal waterways and everything, you don't want people dumping out their holding tanks into the water.
Oh.
No.
So, yeah, that's regulated by the Coast Guard. we do have inspections where they come to make sure that we have adequate holding tanks on our boats, making sure overboard valves are properly marked, and, you know, all of that fun stuff. Fun thing, though, is if you're on a sailboat and you don't have a toilet installed, you can poop in a bucket and just dump that overboard.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those rules apply to those with toilet systems installed on their boats. What we like to call the head. Got plenty of rules for the Coast Guard.
Oh my God, that is great. Should we get into some questions?
Yeah.
for PUA?
Is there anything else, PUA, that you want to add to whale poop or marine poop or any? Oh, I have one other question.
Yeah, what's up?
Sperm whale vomit.
I was like, hold on, we can't go before we talk about ambergris.
Yes.
Ambergris.
Have you
What is
seen
that?
one?
Have you?
I
seen
have
it?
not. Oh man, that is an elusive thing right there.
Wait, is that the thing?
Ambergris
Is that the thing
is
that's like
liquid
super?
gold.
Yeah, it's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like worth like a bunch of money. People, if they find it, it's like I forget how much, like per gram.
Millions.
Yes, I do. Okay, now you're talking about yes. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
PUA,
So-
explain to the audience who don't know what it is and
All
why
right.
it's so expensive.
So ambergris, contrary to popular belief, that is not whale vomit. That's whale
Oh.
poop.
Oh,
That is whale poop. Yes. So ambergris is this crazy stuff that is only found inside the digestive tract of a sperm whale. Now, it's not inside every sperm whale. We think only one out of, thousands of them will actually have this in their
Wow.
system. So
so
there's
it's super rare.
1% of
Wow.
350,000 sperm whales that are currently on planet Earth may have this substance in them. So what ambergris is, it is essentially made out of a fatty substance that protects the whale's intestines. And sperm whales feed on squid. So what happens is all those beaks of the squids end up stuck inside the intestines. And they ball up right there, and then it coats it with this waxy intestine stuff
Wow.
called ambergris. Yes. So that's what it is. It's basically just an irritant inside of a sperm whale's intestines from all these like sharp little beaks. And it like wraps it up in that. Now,
So it's like a bile. That's a
Uh-huh.
waxy bile. Wow.
That's it.
And then they
Yeah.
poop it out.
occasionally, so sperm whales can dump hundreds of pounds of poop out too. And occasionally ambergris makes its way out. So, I mean,
Wow.
a constipated sperm whale that finally pushes it out.
Woo.
Oh, whew. So from there, ambergris floats around in the oceans for sometimes decades before it
Wow.
washes up on a beach. Yeah, so this isn't just an instantaneous stuff.
Yeah.
So it is extremely valuable because it's used in the high-end fragrance industry.
Yes.
Yes.
In perfumes.
So if you've ever spritzed yourself with Chanel No. 5, odds are good you've sprayed a little bit of whale poop on you. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes. So it has this crazy chemical in it that basically fixes the scent to the skin. So it makes it hang in the air longer and also fixes it so the smell doesn't fade very quickly, which is why you have really long, smelling perfumes that stay on you for hours and hours. So a few ounces of that stuff, that can go for thousands of dollars. Its
Yeah.
Yeah.
nickname is floating gold.
I'm just like now,
And-
like, all of a sudden remembering this documentary about that. It's so fun. This guy had found like a giant lump of that on a beach. He's like, "What is this?" And he found it's like, I mean, like literally went from like average, like just
He was
Dude.
unemployed too.
yeah. Well, it's right. Okay. Oh
And
my
he
god.
was walking his dog and he
Yeah,
found it.
that's what it was. And now he's like loaded. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like
So-
an instant millionaire.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah, it
just
was-
like 1 million, like multi-millionaire.
Yeah, there was in 2008, there were two beachcombers that were walking their dog in North Wales. They found a chunk that weighed 110 pounds
Wow.
and it fetched them $790,000.
Wow.
This whale poop is amazing.
Oh, it's like my
Wow.
dream now.
Yeah, so they say.
I just want to
say
know
each-
who found the first whale poop and then broke it down to put it in perfume. Like how
Well,
many
that was-
steps,
Yeah, I mean, this was back around in like the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries.
Yeah.
They were finding this stuff, and it was already prized back then, and it's only gained more value because of how rare it is because, again, we've killed off so many sperm whales. I mean, decimated their populations too. So it's even more rare than it was back then.
Wow, that's
So,
sad.
and each piece of ambergris is not equal. So they say that ambergris, it has different smells, and it depends on how much sun and seawater it ends up absorbing. So some are more on the musky side, some are a little bit sweeter. I've heard it described as grass or hay. Some just smells like poop. Cool.
Like, this is just shit.
And you have these people at the perfume companies that are called professional noses, and their job is to determine what the ambergris really smells like, how much, how valuable it will be, and what will go into that perfume to kind of maximize its scent. It's crazy.
So what you're telling us is you cannot follow a sperm whale around and just let him shit it out and make millions of dollars. Like this, it needs to also be floating in the ocean.
There's a process.
Catching sun,
Mm-hmm.
being out there for years. Like it's rarer than we could even ever imagine.
Yeah, it's so rare because it's not something you can just follow, swim behind a sperm whale and hope to catch it.
Yeah.
It's gotta drift. And there are people that their whole job is to go out and collect samples of whale poop. So one of them, it's a molecular biologist, Christopher Kemp. He's like, this is just this entire thing. Like, he's been out there studying these whales for so long and following poop, and he's never found ambergris because, again, 1% of sperm whales will produce this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Speaking of whale poop and things you can collect from it, there are also marine scientists that go around and collect samples of whale poops from humpback whales and other ones too, to monitor plastics and plastic pollution too.
That's
So
smart.
That's pretty
super
cool.
smart.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's something we don't really think about too, is we put a lot of plastic in the water, and a lot of it ends up in these whales. It can cause blockages. It can cause them to starve. But most of the time they'll be able to pass it, but it's microplastic. So we're seeing an uptick in microplastics found in whale poop as well. Yeah.
So depressing.
I think I saw some study
I don't
about
want to
that.
be depressing.
Oh, no.
I know.
I think I saw some study too about that, and they were saying like it's in a lot of like seabirds as well, and like just a lot of animals that aquatic, like it's a lot of their feces or in their guts, intestines. It's kind of like it is depressing, but ugh.
But it's also something we need to draw, awareness to and talk about.
Yes.
Is that they have we probably have lots of microplastics in our poop
sure.
too. I just don't have a scientist that wants to follow behind me and go, here, let me see.
No one's studying your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's ever going to be panning my shit for gold. So,
Dave,
Someday.
we need to find that person who is willing to go through our poops. We need to find some kind
Do we really?
of yes. I want to find a scientist who let us go through our poop to see if there's any microplastics and what's in there.
Oh my god,
They're out there.
Yeah.
We know they are.
I'm sure.
And if anybody knows of these scientists, we'd love for them to email the Hey Poopy Podcast at gmail.com or our hotline, call 203-998-5579. And if you have any more whale poop questions that you think we have missed, email us or call us. We'll get PUA back on. We'll ask more. Yeah.
I could even bring my marine biologist friends the next time around
Yeah, that'd be
and answer more
amazing.
questions, because everyone's got crazy stories out here.
Oh, sure.
Now, I did send you guys an email where I said I was going to talk about mistaken identity for whale poop.
Oh, yes, please tell us.
This is kind of a doozy. So remember how I said you have to have holding tanks and you can't put poop? Well, regulations change from different places. So one of my good friends is a deckhand from South Africa, and her husband is a skipper down there, and they run whale watches down there as well. So they were out one day looking at humpback whales, and they had been with this group for a while. Now, my friend said the naturalist on duty was a real airhead. just blurted out whatever she wanted on the microphone. Just, you got to be careful when you have a microphone what you start saying. So they'd been watching these humpback whales, and the humpback whales just took a dive, and there was a big brown cloud in the water, and the naturalist points at it and goes, "Oh my God, it's whale poop. Guys, look." And she gets like this whole boatload of people over to the side, and they're all looking at the poop. And she's talking about how amazing it is. And the people are looking at the poop, which is next to the boat. And they're looking at the whales, which were like 100 yards away that had already dived. And they're looking back at the poop. And then this gentleman walked out of the bathroom and shut the door. And they all just looked at him and looked back down. This naturalist had drawn the attention of all these tourists to this guy, this poor guy's poop.
That must have been a massive hit.
Yeah.
He confused it for a whale poop.
Ooh, just not thinking. She shut her mouth up for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's like, if you'll take the other side of the boat, you can see.
Yeah. Oh my
Wow.
God, look, a bird. Let's
That's
go
crazy.
there.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh yeah. Good
Do
stuff.
you have any other funny stories being on boats with poop? Human, animal, all of the above?
All of the above. I have, oh gosh. Yeah, I've mentioned seasickness and how that tends to do a lot of things to people. I do have a pretty messed up story about this. Woo, about this poor woman. It was an afternoon trip, a 3-hour tour we were running, and
It's like a Gilligan's Island episode.
Yeah, so I was training this new deckhand who was still pretty new to everything. And I was up on the top deck, and he comes up and he goes, "Hey, Pua, is she allowed to do that?" And I look down on the bottom deck, and there's this woman dressed all in white, this older, maybe in her 40s, sprawled on the deck, on the back of the boat, just flat out. And I said, "Absolutely not. That's where we send everyone to go feed the fish. She is going to get trampled. We need to get her off the deck." So I get there and I'm like, "Ma'am, you need to get up." And she's like, "No, I'm dying." And I said, "No, you have to sit up. I'm going to get you to a bench." And I pick her up, and luckily I'm wearing gloves at this point. I pick her up and I get her seated. And just at that moment, like, this kid came rocketing by, already projectile vomiting to the back of the boat. This happens. Yes, this does happen.
I'm sure.
So I get him cleaned up, and I start to do a round. I'm walking up the starboard side of this boat, and we have the restroom located up there. And this deckhand's just standing outside. The door is swinging in the wind. And again, I'm wearing gloves. I grabbed the door handle and I secured the door, and I said, "Don't do that. Always secure doors." And then I look at my hand, and it's covered in shit.
Oh.
And I said, and I look at the door. Now this is, it's about the size of a small closet, and it's white walls, and there's just poop smeared everywhere. Door handle here. I look at the deck. There's footprints in poop walking to the back of the boat. And I said, "Oh my God, we need to shut this side of the boat down." So I had to call the captain up, tell her to switch the whales to the left side of the boat, close off the side of the boat, and just start scrubbing. I was cleaning so much poop off of everything, and it was like a crime scene in there. And I said, "Where the heck did this all come from?" And then I was like, "Oh, the lady in the white." And I go back there and I really take a good look at her, and she had managed to get it all over her pants, jacket, her shoes. And I'm looking at her, and she is trying to scuff the poop off of her shoe onto my deck, and I just was like,
Like, excuse me?
I just wanted to wrap her up in a biohazard bag at that point.
You're like, come here so I can hose you down. Oh my
I know.
God.
It was the worst part, though, was when I was scrubbing the bathroom, and I'm like muttering under my breath trying to get the poop, and this gentleman appeared behind me. He goes, "Hey, can I use this restroom?" I said, "Does it look like you can use this restroom right now? Do you see this?" And he was like,
He's like, "Never mind."
So, that poor woman, her husband gave her jacket, wrapped her up. She just put her head down, and she just kept her head down for the rest of the trip. I felt so bad. But it happens. When you're seasick, things tend to just kind of come out of you. Either end, accidents do happen quite a bit when you're on a boat.
You should have put her like in a little dinghy and throw her off the side of the boat. Just have her back there, just like, "You know what? You hang out back here. This is where you belong."
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gross.
I want to know, when you got this job, were you like, oh my God, I'm going to be whale watching? Or did they say, yes, you're going to be on a boat a lot whale watching, but a lot of vomit and shit is going to be involved in this job? Did they warn you?
They very casually, it was a FaceTime interview too. They very casually, they said, how do you do with seasick people? And I was like, I guess I do okay with them. Never had an issue before because the ships all I worked on before were bigger cruise ships. We carried 90 passengers. The boat was a lot more stable. And my first day I hopped onto this 65-foot catamaran and we hit the swells and we're doing this and a kid is just losing it out this end. I've had somebody just losing it over there. It was just like, and I said, is this normal? On the other deck, and I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Happens all the time.
This happens all the time.
Oh.
Yeah. If this was a vomit podcast, I probably would win.
Oh yeah, you'd be very popular.
Yeah, but the aggressive eye contact with the guy that just started pooping in front of me, I was like, this is fine. It's fine.
Oh my God.
I just love that at the job interview, they kind of just slid it in. Like, are you okay with that?
Well, they
Not
also
knowing
didn't.
that this would be like probably your primary job, you know.
Yeah, they also didn't tell me I was going to be doing burials at sea. Now that was another one. Oh
What?
yes,
Wow.
you can
You
do
guys
a
do
burial
burial
at
at
sea
seas.
too. You
Wow.
just have to have a special permit for it. So, yep.
Are we
How long
talking
have you
full
worked
bodies
for
here? Are we talking like are we talking like our urn type of thing, like ashes?
Urn type of thing. You can dump a body in the water. You got to go way off.
Yeah, I
stuff,
imagine
like,
so.
Way.
International waters.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wait, how long have you been working for this company?
About a year and a year and 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
You deserve the raise of all raise to be sticking in that long. Oh my God.
It's been wild, yeah. especially
It's definitely not boring.
COVID times too. It's just you got so many more things going on too. We have to sanitize the bathroom after every single use now too.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
I've
Yeah, because
seen
COVID
some
can be
things.
spread in poop.
I guess so. Yeah. We were just like, yep, you can spread it with poop. We're gonna clean it. And I mentioned boat toilets are very sensitive, and people can have very bad effects with seasickness. I've had to pull things out of toilets that you are not allowed to put in them. Especially boat toilets are sensitive.
Oh, I'm
We
sure.
have 1-ply toilet paper on this boat. 1-ply. You can see right through it. It's very not good. It's just the most upsetting
Very
poops
translucent.
you could ever take on a boat with 1-ply toilet paper. Yeah.
Wow.
So
What are the
I've
things you pulled out of the toilet?
I have had an older lady forget that she had a bunch of change in her back pocket and a receipt, and I had to reach into her poop and pull out coins.
Oh.
I pulled out 15 cents
Oh my God.
and a receipt, and I said, "Ma'am, would you like your receipt back?" And she did not think that was.
Oh,
Oh,
I would be like, this
I was
is,
like, so I suppose this is a tip then, huh?
yeah.
A whole 15 cents.
Oh,
Ooh,
Jesus.
Yes.
That is nuts.
I've also had somebody, and this is actually a personal story. This is not from the Whale Watch. This is when I was living on the sailboat with my father. My father decided to go to the bathroom, and he was wearing those stupid surf shorts that have the Velcro pockets, and things can get stuck to those Velcro pockets. He had a wool sock stuck to his pocket that fell into the toilet, and he flushed it. And it took so long, me and my brother having to try to pull this sock.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's like just a solid, hard sponge
That
once
is-
it gets wet.
so fucking
Yeah,
gross.
that was a bad one. Also, in marine toilets, you can have things crawl back up through the pipes that you don't want. So
Like
I have found
what?
like a crab. Yes. I've had a crab show up in our toilet.
That's
Oh
so
my
nuts.
God.
It just gets stuck in a
Yep.
filter or something, like down below, or like.
Well, if you have it switched to overboard, it's a lot more of a straight shot to go in there.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, if a determined crab is so inclined, he can indeed crawl up through there.
Wait, were you taking a dump while the crab was coming up, or you just saw the crab in the
I was
toilet?
attempting to go to the bathroom. I saw the crab and I just left. So I'm just jump overboard. You got this. I'm not sitting down.
Yeah,
Wow.
those little pinchers.
Just little pinchers right there.
Oh no,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. No,
I mean,
thank
we've
you.
seen like snakes, and we talked to one guy we interviewed from Sri Lanka said that there's snakes in those like squat toilets and stuff, but I never thought of crabs.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just put a little note on the door that said there's a crab in there. Please be nice to him.
Yeah.
Just
Please rectify problem.
please rectify this problem.
Oh my god.
I would just pick them out and cook them for dinner. Woo!
Yeah.
That's going back overboard. I'm like, there you go, buddy.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just checking up on ambergris things too. I mean, there's people that have found 63,000. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I did just want to say one note. It is illegal in the U.S. to sell ambergris.
Oh.
Mhm.
Wow.
And that is because it's produced by an endangered species. So, I mean, it's not something that hurts the whale. It's not something we can like harvest or anything like that. It's purely if you get lucky and you find it on a beach, but you can't sell it in the U.S. However, there is a thriving market for it in Europe and especially in France for that. So that's where everyone kind of takes their ambergris sales.
They're like,
So
what are
if
you
you
checking?
find it, go to Europe.
Yeah. They're like, what are you checking? Oh, this ambergris. That's all. It's just sit on the plane with it in your lap.
What are you checking? My retirement
Yeah.
fund.
This is gold right here.
Hilarious. So PUA, do you put it on the roll over or under?
Over. I worked in housekeeping, and if we were caught putting it under, that's a write-up right there.
That's a write-up.
See,
Oh, yeah, they were very strict.
hotels
Oh.
aren't just bougie. They're like, they have rules.
You mean they're
Especially
they're
boats,
draconian.
boat hotels, which had some crazy stuff happen on boats, too. I forgot about all those stories.
Okay, tell us.
I'll just stick with one of my absolute favorites, which is just concerning in every way, this is just a bad story. So I worked for this company up in Southeast Alaska, and we would stop at Glacier Bay National Park every single week. And Southeast Alaska, you don't get Wi-Fi or, cell phone service anywhere except for like 3 different spots. So Glacier Bay, we actually could get off the boat and use the Wi-Fi there. So we were hustling. So if you're a housekeeper on these boats, you have 6 to 7 rooms that you have to clean right after breakfast. And then you get maybe 20 minutes. You can run up, use the Wi-Fi before you got to come back and do lunch service. So I was hustling. We all were. Now, I should say these rooms are small. They're dark. The carpet's dark blue. The shades were drawn. And I stepped into this room, and there's 2 twin beds in there. And I just got hit in the face by the smell of shit. And I said, where's the poop? Where's the poop in here? So first thing I check the bathroom, which incidentally is a shoilet. Have you guys
What
ever
is
used
that?
a toilet?
Oh,
It's
what's
a
that?
shower and a toilet together.
Oh, okay.
Very common on boats is a shoilet. So I
I've never
check
heard
it,
of
and
a
this
toilet. That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Is it like
Yeah,
those
you have a
military
thin little
things where it's
curtain
like, it's like everything's in
separates you.
one little thing, right? Like all the stuff's like
Yep,
just
one-
contained.
Yeah, if you're so inclined, you can hose off your toilet when you're in there
Yeah.
to make sure everything's nice and sparkly clean. Yeah, it's pretty great. And it was sparkling clean, and I said, okay, well, the poop's not here. Maybe they just got off the boat and they pooped. And so I go, and first thing I do is I start making the beds. So the covers were already pulled up, and I made the bed, and the smell just got stronger. And I said, what the hell? And I'm trying to open the window because it's overpowering, and I've got another coworker that came in, and she goes, Pua, what the shit is going on in here? The whole hallway smells like poop. And I said, I don't know. And then it just hit me. And I pulled the covers back on the bed. The covers were pulled up, and there's just poop smeared everywhere.
Oh
So much. They had pooped the bed. It was on the bottom of the wall. And I said, okay, I found the source. And I said, but where's the turd? And then I looked down at the carpet, that dark blue-black carpet, and the poop had fallen out of the bed and landed on the floor, and I had stepped directly into it and tracked it through the room as I'm trying to find the source of the poop, and it was on my shoe the whole time.
So you were just making it worse.
I ground it into the carpet, and I got to the edge of the room, and if it's a bodily fluid thing, we call the manager. This is not my pay grade for this. It wasn't until this job where I was really handling all that, but I had to pull my shoe off and carry it in front of me and limp down the hall with one shoe.
Oh.
And, we're in the national park. We're not allowed to put anything in the water. I said, fuck this noise. I just threw my into the trash, and I was standing there barefoot in the back of the boat just screaming.
Oh.
Well, and they had to steam clean and just throw all of the blankets and sheets, everything away.
Did you
So
guys?
I didn't get any Wi-Fi that day. That did not happen.
Did you take the offenders and like have them walk off a plank or something into the ocean? I would have been like, who the fuck is in this room and why would you do that? Like,
the worst part about it, besides, tracking human poop everywhere and having it on you, this was day one of a 7-day cruise. And I knew these, and there was only 60 passengers on this boat. So I knew exactly who it was. It was Dick and motherfucking Dottie.
Really?
I will never forget their names.
Were they older,
They were
younger?
this older couple. They were old.
Oh.
And they never said a word to anybody about what they did.
Fuck Dick and Dottie. That's
and
bullshit.
I had to serve them dinner. And I
no.
had to look them in the eye and just be like, you motherfuckers. I had... And the last day of the cruise, we were in Juneau, Alaska. We're offloading people. And I ran into Dottie in the hallway. And before I knew it, she had hugged me.
Oh.
And she's like, thank you for everything. And I said, you're welcome, ma'am, anytime. And as soon as she turned around, I'm just like, what the flying fuck was that?
I feel like you should write a children's book called Dick and Dottie and Their Do.
Dick and Dottie and Their Do. That's a great title.
Dick and Duty. That's fucking gross.
Dick and Duty, yes.
Oh,
yeah, that was truly when shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Was on that.
You literally stepped in it too.
Well, and he shit the bed.
Yeah.
He shit
all the
bed.
puns.
It was like, come on now, man.
Oh.
You just needed to tell us. The truth was going to come out on this one. There was no hiding. You could make your bed all you want.
That would have been great. Just like a big announcement, like on the captain's like, for the passengers in room number, we just shit in the bed. Can you please come to the captain's bridge, please?
Okay,
oh my god.
Let's just entertain. You couldn't find the poop, and you just made the bed over it. Like they would have then end up back in their room, like in the covers. Come on, people.
Yeah. That's it. I was like, if I didn't find that, I was just going to make your bed and leave. And you would have had to sleep in your own shit again to try to...
You would have found those sheets, like, if that happened, you would have found those sheets, like, outside the room. And you're like, who put their sheets, like, just out here in the hall? They would have found a way to, like, not tell anybody, but then just sort of, like, try to, like, hide the problem.
Yep. That was it. I was like, you couldn't even, like, serving dinner was especially hard. Do you really need that second cup of coffee? I don't think you do. I really don't think you do.
Yeah. Also, there's a bathroom in your fucking room.
No, Dick and Dottie, you are cut off. You are cut off. I saw what you did. You are done.
Yep. No.
That's so gross.
No pudding for you.
I also had a gentleman scare the crap out of me once. Not quite literally, but close. I was on a different ship, still up in Southeast Alaska. These rooms are a little bit nicer, a little bit bigger, more airy, so I could actually see what was going on. And you find a lot of stuff when you're cleaning people's rooms. I found my fair share of dildos and, all sorts of fun stuff just laying out. It's really fun when it's like lifting up the pillow and I'm like, well, just going to put the pillow right back down over that. But this gentleman's bathroom had a really weird funk to it, and it was coming from the shower drain.
Oh.
And so I cleaned the room, still smelled funky. So I was like, checked in with my manager. He's like, go put a little like bleach down the drain. So I went and grabbed my little bottle of bleach, went back to the room. I'd only been gone for like 10 minutes at the most, but I knocked because you never know. And I knocked on the door and said housekeeping, and the door just whipped open. And there's this guy in his tiny little black undies with his hair down. He had shoulder length hair. He had a hairdryer out, and he jumps out like cowboy stamps, and he goes, stick him up.
What the fuck?
I screamed. I said, no. And he said, wait, come back. And I'm running away. I'm like, no. And he goes, I thought you were my wife. I was like, oh, Jesus. And again, I'm serving him dinner that night because we do both.
No.
And it's really awkward. And I take their drink order, and he's not looking me in the eye, and the wife is glaring at me, and I'm like, how the fuck is this my fault?
Yeah.
And I come back, and he is in the middle of telling everybody the story, and he's right at the hairdryer, stick him up, and I throw my serving tray down. I said, it is so hard to look you in the eye. And he goes, I'm sorry. I said, just saw way too much that day.
So you don't know what was the stink down the drain?
I still never fixed that. I just left it.
Fuck at that point. Fuck it. Let them figure it out.
I was not going back in that room.
Yeah.
No, sir.
That's the correct answer. Oh my god.
Ooh. Good times.
Yeah.
Should we just go into news now?
Yeah, let's
I
go
think
into
we have been educated and all
we got
the stories.
a lot of good stuff. So I'm gonna play this little theme song, and then we'll get into some news. So I don't know if we talked about this before because it's been a long time, but I was going through my poop news folder here, and this case came from Nova Scotia. There was a 36-year-old male resident who took a dump and he looked back and he saw something like squirming and floating in his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an intestinal parasite that looked like a tadpole. And of course he like lost his mind. But yeah, I mean, like it was such such news that like the sample was then. I guess he just took it and was like, "Fuck it, I got to send this to somebody," and it went to the Hold on, here we go. Parasitology section at the Queen Elizabeth II Health Science Center in Halifax. That's a mouthful.
Oh.
So basically, he would send it to like a specialist in Nova Scotia for ID, and it was oh my god, it's so gross. It was like basically what they identified as a quote unquote rat-tailed maggot. Yeah, or a drone fly. So somehow like it just like got in this guy's system, and then he pooped it out, and it like hatched in his shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah. This is vile story. Woo! So yeah, it was
terrible.
like, and I forgot how I even found this article, who sent this to me, so I apologize to if anybody emailed this to us or I didn't give them credit, but it's been a while, people. But yeah, it's so disgusting. And the only reason I brought this up is because like, I mean, this is the closest news story I had in my bank over here that was animal related, so I kind of wanted to follow a theme since we were talking about whales and stuff. But yeah, a rat-tailed maggot that looks like a tadpole is birthed in someone's feces. I would have like had a heart attack if I saw that. Like seriously, passed out, been like, I'm dying.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's one of the more disgusting news stories that we've talked about. But
completely
very, very gross. But I had to talk about it. It is news. So, with that very disgusting but informative story, PUA, I just want to say thank you so much for being on our show. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have you back on again. We get some of your marine biology friends to talk more about poop and
so many stories.
Everything out there in the water. Yeah, I'm sure. So,
oh yeah.
I would normally say like, where can our listeners find you? But maybe we just let people like sort of figure it out on their own.
Yes, just go whale watching, guys, and go find some whale poop out there.
Cool.
Yeah,
go walk your beaches. Look for that ambergris. You never know; you could get lucky.
Yeah, you never know. It's like winning the lottery.
PUA also was a very awesome fan of the show who emailed me. So if you're a fan of the show and you want to be a guest, it's pretty easy to do so. We love, as long as you have some interesting stories. She was like, I have stories about whale poop. I was like, did and done, your book. So.
You're great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, awesome. That was a fun one. And again, stay safe out there.
Yes.
And
happy pooping, everybody. And my new tagline, enjoy your butthole.
Nice. I like that one.
Right?
I think I like that one better. I like that one a lot.
I'll tell that story at another check-in.
Perfect.
Where I found that tagline. So happy pooping, everybody, and enjoy your butthole.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect 4 Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen, with executive producer Stormy Leather. Edited by me, Dave.
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com for episodes, merch, and more. Follow us on Instagram at heypoopypodcast and Twitter at heypoopy. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy.